Okay, living and restored. Father Miller here. Welcome back to the Nerd Father. If you've been following me on Twitter, you know it's been an interesting last few days for me. We're going live early because Gary's going early too. But this time last week, as I mentioned, I thought I had COVID and I was getting short of breath. I had, some pains on the sides and everything, back pains too, and thought that was probably a sign of COVID because I was with a dinner party last week of about 7 people. And within 2-3 days, 2 of the 7 came down with the thing. And when I started to get short of breath, I thought I was getting the thing too. And I did the Saturday night vigil mass. Wasn't feeling too good during it. But again, I thought that was because I had the symptoms of the thing. So I canceled the masses on Sunday and I went up to nearby town to get a rapid test because, again, it was the closest one that I could get done. Turns out that I did not have COVID, PJ. But the test said I was negative, so I'm still short of breath. The oxygen numbers were down, so I got further tests. The blood work came back. They were a little concerned, so they said I might have a possible clot, so they sent me to the ER. And turned out I had blood clots in the lungs.
Oh.
Now, how in the world that happened, I have no clue, because they did, for those watching, they did the deep vein scan where they scan your veins from basically your groin all the way down on both legs. They did a heart echo. There was nothing. Heart is clean. Legs are clean. How did I get clots? Now, some of the anti-vaxxers are saying, well, you should never have got the shot. Well, I got the shot 7 months ago. If I got clots within a month of the shot, then yeah, maybe I would be suspicious.
You could actually tie it to that if it was recent. No.
Exactly. But the thing is, 7 months ago, and I'm only getting symptoms in the last 3 days. No, I don't buy that.
No. If they
so how are you?
Blood thinners, I'm fine, thank you.
I'm on blood thinners. I spent my first night in the hospital and probably 40 years since the tonsil incident of 83. When I was 8 years old. So I was expecting to be in a few days. They got me out within a little bit over 24 hours. I still would like to know what happened.
Yeah. Hopefully the test, I'm assuming they did test. Hopefully they'll come back and they'll give an explanation.
Well, I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm on thinners now for at least 2 months. I'm feeling better, but I'm still short of breath when I'm also getting a cold. But when I walk around, I get a little short breathed. But they didn't send me home on oxygen, so that was good. But I have to go see. I'll probably go see a blood doctor, a hematologist, I think they call it.
Yeah.
See if they might be able to come up with some answers.
Yep, a blood doctor.
So, too bad Christopher Lee isn't still here.
Give you a good bite.
Uh-oh, we got Dirk McManus with us.
Hello.
Quick.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
So I take it everybody's been watching the news.
I saw a bit of it
excellent
when I come
news.
home. Yes.
Excellent news.
Let's see. If I can get the cat out of my way.
Well, I've got
Come
the
on,
two
Bosco.
dogs on my knee, so don't let them
Oh,
see the cat, or else I'm going to get ripped to
He's kind of
shreds.
blocking the shared screen.
Let's go.
There we go. I don't know if you know the kid on the top,
Yep, that was the one about
Nick
the
Sandman.
how he was abusing the Indian.
Yeah. Now that
Yeah.
happened in Washington. Every January we have the March for Life where we stand up against abortion. This kid, a lot of Catholic schools will go to it. This kid was one of the Catholic schools, and I don't think he should have been wearing the MAGA hat. But anyway, but I thought the kid was guilty as hell until you got the full context
Yes,
and didn't
because
realize
you only see a
he
part.
didn't instigate it.
Yep, he just stood there. Right, you two down.
So I
Thank
guess the
God you
question
see the
tonight is: does Wisconsin burn?
Oh yes, of course. All these progressive, peaceful demonstrations, mostly peaceful demonstrations, should I say, will kick off.
Cat is. Okay, there we go. Meow.
Yeah, no, I can do almost better. Right, look, the cat.
Yeah, but she likes that.
No, he just constantly tries to sit up my knee. Both of them are. The two of them are sitting there, so they are, and they're climbing up now.
Let's see. Oh, I got a text message I'll have to respond to. Have either of you seen Ghostbusters yet?
No.
No,
The only
not yet.
thing I'm
Right
actually
here.
looking forward to watching is the Wheel of Time starting. And it was on today, and I'm going to review it on Sunday, so I'm going to watch it Sunday morning.
Okay.
But I haven't seen the Ghostbusters at all.
I'm just responding to a text.
I only saw the bit of a trailer about it, and that's it. Because of the last one, I've not even bothered about this one.
Oh, that's two different movies.
I know, but it's just the idea of it. It's just tainted it for me. So it's the idea of anything with that title now. Anything after the first two.
I had a friend who went to it last night, and he said that it was probably the best sequel he's ever watched. And I trust his opinion. We share a lot of the same opinions on movies. And I knew this would be good because Ivan Reitman's son, you know, you can tell he was reacting to what they did to his dad's legacy of movies by that piece of junk that they released years ago. And he created something that felt more like a movie, a good movie. And might I say hello from the country where freedom rings? Let's hear it from Mr. Rittenhouse and not guilty on all 5 charges.
I don't know if Justin saw the little meme I showed earlier. I am looking forward to the civil lawsuits.
I hope he doesn't have to work another day the rest of his life.
Yep.
And honestly,
He will.
Someone mentioned that might be riots.
I
I said,
hope
I hope
he
he gives him his
Biden.
gun back and he goes right out that courthouse and defends the city from riots tonight.
Okay, let me see if I can find that other thing. There was the meme going around of Anakin and Natalie Portman basically saying we need to have Kyle out there because there'll be riots.
She makes that
The
little.
reason we need to have them out there is because there will be riots and we need him to protect us.
Yeah.
So,
But the idea of that justice was served and some people don't like it to the point they'll burn down cities is not a good thing.
I literally unfriended somebody on Facebook today because his comment was, "I can't believe a murderer got off." I was like, you know what? Click.
Is this somebody I know?
Nope. Just
I don't
someone
think the
met.
guy that we went to school with made a comment yet.
Oh, he can eat me. I'm sorry.
Oh dear.
Okay.
I tell
haven't-
you what, when I
We haven't
I
had
was
it in a
listening to
while.
All I can say right now is shame, 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 shame.
I'm sorry, but I was listening to it live on the radio because I'd been listening to Louder with Crowder. You know, he's got Quarterback Garrett on and stuff, and they can get pretty foul. But I was listening to just the radio, and when they were reading off the verdicts, I don't know if it was just the amalgamation of so many negative things happening in the last couple of years, and then here's something that I felt hope and joy when I heard the verdicts. I'm like, there is a God, and there is joy to be found in justice being served. And, you know, those of you who don't think this kid should have gotten off scot-free did not pay attention to all the details.
And a lot
the
of them think
media-
OJ is still innocent.
God, they drug him through the dirt. They just annihilated, they crucified this kid before.
I
anything.
genuinely thought they were going to send that kid down, that poor kid down, just to appease the mob. And I
I'm
am
glad they
so
didn't.
glad he got off.
I'm glad. they
Really,
got-
really.
Well, God bless him.
So I
Really?
believe Gary is starting his stream in 90 minutes. It sounds like it's really going to be starting on time now.
Aye, Gary, I think's tighten things up. He's starting to run it like a business now instead of a hobby.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the channel's exploded.
Yeah, they really need to be independent of YouTube, though. I think that'll be the biggest step that they take is having their own site for all their hosting, because eventually someone's going to come down on them, you know. But at least I'll give them the freedom to say what they want to say all the time.
I'm sorry, I lost all my system. All my sound went. I missed the last week.
We were only
So-
talking about you. You didn't miss mine. It's okay.
Okay, well,
PJ, I gotta tell you, I finished watching Enemy of the World the other day. The Patrick Troughton version.
yeah,
Loved it.
yeah, I've got it. It's something I'm plowing through again. I'm starting from the scratch again because we're going to
now,
do
I'm working my way. I'm working my way through Troughton's on BritBox, and unfortunately, I think it's Wheel and Space. They are doing like the slide show
The
because they got the audio,
Yeah.
but they don't got the video.
Yeah, the Telesnap ones. I've got a couple of those. The Telesnap. I think I've got a couple of videos which were done with Telesnap because I thought they're just about to put that into animation. I think I've got the original video and I pulled it out and it's Telesnap for a couple of episodes. So they'd actually released one that had been deleted and only a couple survived. But what I was going to say was talking about me.
Shame, 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 shame.
Oh, you got a little thing.
Yeah, I got it fixed. I got my sound card fixed.
You should do the
So-
whole show like that.
Yeah. I was on this Wednesday, and at the end of the stream, it was only me and Jim, and the both of us had it. So we were messing around with the voices, and that's what we were doing now for the last 10, 15 minutes.
So, what is it called? A sound box?
It's a soundboard.
A soundboard. Okay, so that's what Az uses.
Yeah, he'll have a better one than that one, I'll tell you that much. It'll be a lot more expensive than I think I got mine's on eBay second hand, so can't complain.
So I did not get to watch the third episode of Doctor Who Flux. I enjoyed my trip to the ER more than the 90 seconds I saw of Flux. It looked like they were channeling Rose Tico.
So you went to the hospital.
I did.
You were super concerned. Okay.
No, I was
We saw
hospitalized
you.
because
Yeah. You saw a real doctor.
yeah. Oh
The
yeah.
wee lass that plays Bells from Belfast, apparently. They let her use her own accent. God love her. She did an interview and she was so pleased that they let her use her own accent. You know, this is the
Well-
thing. Whenever you have, you know, nice, decent people like that, and they're so pleased to get a spot in a show like Doctor Who, but Doctor Who's not the show it used to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just have to feel sorry for them in the long run.
Well, unfortunately, we got a year to go before she's gone for good. And we are, 3 days from the anniversary?
Yeah. Well, what we're going to do on Earthly Child, an Unearthly Child, not any other pet or child, on Wednesday to celebrate the birthday.
Is it Wednesday, the anniversary?
No, I do a stream on a Wednesday, so we're going to do it the day after.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Because it was the day that Kennedy was shot was the anniversary, if I remember.
Yes, it was the 23rd of November, 1963. Because they had to show it the week after. It was because obviously the TV, even in the UK, was completely taken by that. So they had to re-show the first episode the week later. So they did. But it's still, the anniversary is the 23rd of November. Nothing to do with why I married my wife, because her birthday's the same.
Oh,
But
shit.
that was just coincidence, honest. God.
Oh, excuse me. A little tired still.
Yeah, I'm not
You're
surprised.
tired. I have no caffeine today. I started my no caffeine, no sugar, and see how far I can go diet. That'll be fun.
Well, actually, it's not been too bad. I mean, what I did this week was cancel the daily mass. I basically scheduled no appointments. I've been doing pretty much just rest all week. And this is the most that I've probably talked nonstop since everything happened. So I didn't know how winded I would be.
Have you ever done the antibody test to see if you had caught COVID in the past?
Well, the problem is I've had the vaccine. So how much of it would
okay.
show vaccine or how much of it would be from the actual
it's
thing?
irrelevant by now. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to tell too much.
Yeah.
But trust me, I've heard it from people that it's like you should never have had the shot.
Everybody has
It's
their
like
own belief on it.
I sat next to a guy for 2 hours that came down with it, and I feel fine. I mean, outside of what I went through, I felt fine.
Everybody reacts to it a little bit differently, but I think the big consensus among the people who are concerned is they just don't want to take a drug that's been pushed out that fast.
Yeah.
No, well, apparently it usually takes 10 years to roll out an average of 10 years to roll out a vaccination. And then they pull this thing out of nowhere in a few months. You know what I mean?
Well,
Yeah.
And then you add on top of that they were having like any treatment that would alleviate the symptoms that wasn't vaccine involved. They were saying don't do that. Take just the vaccine. So there was a lot of stuff out there that made people leery.
No, well,
yeah.
the thing was, if you go back a couple of weeks, Halloween's a big deal here. 31st of October. Me and my friend Paul was contracted to do a couple of fireworks displays. One wedding the night before Halloween, and then a big one Halloween. So we went down and done that. Paul came over from London to do it. And then because he works for the Royal Marines, he's a systems manager. It was compulsory for him to do a test when he came back. So he did the test. He came up positive. Phoned me, says, I come up positive. You're going to have to do a test. So I rush out, get a test, do the test. I come up fine. And me and him sat in a transit van, for 2 days. If I was going to catch COVID, you know what I mean, sitting beside each other in a van, you're bound to get it, and it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So,
yeah. Is Pyro over there? Is it managed by the military? Is that why you guys were doing
no,
that?
it's well, we have to get permissions, especially obviously we had to cross the border. I'm in the north. The 2 displays we did was in the south.
See, my family's been doing professional pyro since I was 10, so I have experience with that. It's pretty free over here. You just gotta get insurance and all that stuff.
It's a wee side job. Oh, don't get me wrong. We don't own the company. There's another guy we used to work with, Andy. He owns the company. But you get weddings and different things, and it's always nice to get out. It was funny when we went back. It was the same hotel. We've been there a couple of times before. Whenever you go back and they've seen you, and they remember you coming back, and then they're pleased to see you because they know you're going to do a good job. And then the other one was in a wee place, Bolton Glass, and funny fella, I sent you the picture of the Jameson's display.
Oh yeah, you did.
And it's just there's a small hotel. It's only a small town, and they do this display every year. And we had 2 boxes extra. We thought, the hell with it, if we fire off these extra ones, they'll definitely want us coming back next year. So we fired them all off too. So everybody was cheering, but when one of them failed, and if it fails, you can light it up with a lighter or a match or whatever. You get 4 seconds to run away. And I dashed in and lit it up, and you call the police in the South Ireland, the guards. So I was running away, but he's on the other side of the river. I seen this big guard looking at me, his high-vis jacket, his stern face on, as if to say, "You didn't do that, right, son?" But no, it was a great weekend.
Usually,
It
when
really
we're running
was.
away, everybody runs too. Because if we're the ones running, you have to also run.
Aye, well, there's a couple of pictures up on my Facebook. You can look it up. It's just under my own name, but you know, you're standing there and all these sparkles are going off behind you. It's an experience.
That's your walking away from the big explosion movie moment right there.
That's it, exactly.
It was
But
a mostly
I just wasn't casual enough. I should have actually been, you know. No, I thought, no, I'm running because I knew how much explosives was in the bloody box.
it was a mostly
So I just got to answer real quick. I am doing fine. I just explained. I'm not going to say it throughout the whole show, but yeah, I'm doing a lot better. So go ahead, PJ. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying he was just doing a mostly peaceful fireworks display.
Aye. No, everybody loved it. No, that's the best thing too. Weddings are good because weddings they're always drunk. You know, and they tell you 9 o'clock, and it's it's 10:30 or 11 by the time you do the display. And even if something goes wrong, they haven't a clue, and they're telling you you're the best ever. But that one, you know, it was 6 o'clock, the Halloween one. But it was just because it was just a wee small town. Whenever we finished, and we were on one side of the river, and they were on the other, it was a park, and they all clapped, and you just feel like $1 million. You know, because you've really, you know, made these people's evening. You just feel great.
Nothing's
That's
better
the
than
best part
just
about it.
sitting and watching a good fireworks display.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what age you are.
And it's a hellish job too because it's not a regular working. I mean, it's most people who do pyro displays have other jobs. There's nobody. I don't know anybody who really has a full-time fireworks.
Oh, you
job.
can't live on it now.
Yeah, it's
We went
seasonal
to
and
extras.
it's simple. Yeah. Ours are mostly centered around, you know, independence from England. So we have ours usually concentrated in, you know, one part of the year around July.
It's all right.
Maybe
I'm
one, of
Irish.
maybe one of these days we'll both actually get to celebrate that as well.
Time it around ours. That'd be great. We can celebrate on both sides of them, you know, our side and the other.
Well, I don't know. I think their revenge is sick and hairy on us.
Oh, God.
Oh, aye.
Can we deploy?
Oh,
It could
dear.
be worse. It could be worse. They could send Nicola Sturgeon as well.
Yeah.
You, Nicola.
They're not all bad. You know,
Nicola
I realized where I recognized David Tennant from when I got started watching Doctor Who, so I could, you know, be in this club. And I was watching Harry Potter last night, and I goes, "That's where I know him from. He was Barty Crouch's junior, or whatever his name is."
Yeah. The first time I saw David Tennant on TV, it was in Rhapsody Nesbitt, and he was dressed as a
Jesus.
woman. He was dressed as a woman behind the bar. They were constantly they were arguing with each other. It's a guy. No, it's a woman. It's a guy. No, and it was David Tennant doing it, and that was a long time ago. One of these days, I'll need to dig out one of the pictures because I've got Rhapsody somewhere. So,
That's an absolute travesty right there. I can't believe they could even attempt to have a celebration of Harry Potter without the person who created it.
I know.
Well, I could say I've never seen it, never read any of the books.
Yeah, but then again, that's what turning around.
Oh, really?
And there's a lot of them out there are celebrating Lord of the Rings, but Tolkien they basically disown. So how can
Well,
you
I never had the
Father, I think
desire
it's worth the
to.
time. If you consider yourself a nerd, you should take the time to watch
Nah.
it.
I got Chronicles of Narnia. I got the Lord of the Rings. I'm fine.
I see my daughter's a bit,
I'm fine.
she was reading the books since she was a kid. I've
Well,
seen
and
the
also
movies, but
C.S. Lewis's Space Trilogy is a good read too.
Oh, I don't say read them. I say watch them in the movies. I've never read the books. I
Yeah.
don't read much. But I'll tell you what, you know, in this drought
Oh,
of
shit.
quality entertainment we've been having the last couple of years, it would do you good to watch something from 20 years ago because they were made well. They were really good. The last two films are a little dark for my taste, like you couldn't see a lot, but especially the first two. I mean, you get that John Williams music and that magical environment. It's a lot of fun to watch.
I
Here you
just
are.
rewatched Gettysburg the other day.
I'm actually
Man, that
watching,
is a good movie.
I'm watching a nice American one, The Ranch.
I
Oh,
haven't
it's
heard of
Ashton
it.
Kutcher's show, right?
Aston Kutcher,
Yeah.
Danny Masterson,
Yeah, that was
Sam
really
Elliott.
sad. When he found out what happened with Danny Masterson, apparently he was something with underage or inappropriate,
Yeah.
and then they had to boot him from the show. And
Yeah,
I know
well,
him and
I-
Ashton were good friends for a long
See,
time.
I thought it was only 2 seasons. Recently found it was 4.
Yep.
So 10 episodes into season 3 is when it happened. So he's in. I'm it. halfway through season 3. So I'm
It
at
gets a
the
little
episode
stale.
just before he gets kicked.
Yeah, it gets a little stale because it feels like it's kind of like watching Jessica Jones, where you feel that the characters are growing, but they end up reverting back to their original behavior. And it's like, okay, we need you to grow more if you want to carry the show further. And it,
Yeah.
so it's good and it's bad, but yeah.
I find a lot of programs are like that. They want the characters to grow, and then they grow so much that they think, well, people stop watching because the characters are no longer like what they were when they started watching it. So all that growth stop and go back to the beginning again, and it never works. You can't grow and then just flip back, and expect it to be as good. But the thing is, with the Ranch, one thing I find funny is, in effect, it's almost all from that 70s show are in it. There's about 3 or 4 haven't turned up in it yet. And
Yeah,
it's
you'll
almost
find a lot of
half
shows
season.
here are like that, where if you get an actor who puts together his own show, produces it, they end up hiring the people that they love to work with the most.
Yeah.
And, that doesn't always work out, because if you watch that G.I. Joe movie they made where it was the worst, it was the guy from... Okay, it was the guy who did The Mummy, which The Mummy wasn't terrible, but he did G.I. Joe, and he hired like 5 people from the cast of The Mummy and then stuck them in this movie, and they didn't belong there.
They put them in the wrong places.
Oh, they put him in. They shouldn't have been. Like, they had Brendan Fraser.
James Cameron used to do that too.
Who
The same people are in the Terminator. They're an alien, and they were in Near Dark.
Yeah, look at Bill
Campbell and
Paxton.
Sam Raimi.
Same
That's
crew.
why Bruce Campbell's in a lot of Sam Raimi stuff. Same reason.
There's on Netflix.
Yeah, but
they're
Bruce
doing the
Campbell is a
movies that
living
made us.
legend.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch Netflix, the movies that made us, you'll see a lot of that, because they've been doing the horror movies, and they touch on that those actors, they tell like, oh, he was working next door and he helped us with that last movie, so we just brought him into this movie and filled the spot, because they didn't expect to have their movies be that important, and then you start seeing the same actors.
Yeah.
Once they start hitting it, making that blockbuster happen. So.
Yep. And Father, I'm a big Bruce Campbell fan, so yeah, he is a living legend.
Who doesn't like Bruce Campbell? Like, who like, I hate that guy. Who says that?
I don't know.
Well, but the only thing is, have you ever seen?
I've got the Evil Dead film, the cells from the movies there. I've got
You see if I
Bristol
can
County
find-
up there. I've got most of Bruce Campbell stuff. I'm looking at a figure, Bubba Hotep, as Bruce is Elvis. £70, so it is, but I'm trying to save the cash to get it. For one figure, £70. So that's about $85, $90 just for a figure.
Okay, so I would love to get a Bruce Campbell autograph, but
Yep.
that's his autograph there. I can't decipher that. That doesn't look
Caster.
like Bruce Campbell, the autograph.
I thought he'd said, because I'm sure in his book he basically said when he was doing it, he did it in such a way because he signed so many of them.
I've got a good autograph somewhere.
There's a few artists like that. Well, they'll do like their initials, or they'll do a particular autograph, because they end up signing like 1,000 in a day if they go to a show.
Yeah.
But then they go to sign a check and it looks completely different, but that's still considered to be their authentic signature.
Yeah.
I prefer to meet the person unless there's no way I'm going to meet them.
I'm
I
the same.
always find that autographs are not great to me unless I have Gina's, but what are the chances I want to meet Gina? I have the cast of Clone Wars. I have Ewan or not Ewan, but I have Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka, the voice talents on a card. But again, what are the chances I'm going to meet them? Unlike, I was just found this the other day, and I think there it is. That's me and Warwick Davis.
Oh, you showed that.
Hey,
Oh yeah, I did sell I found the hard copy that I had printed out. I said if I ever see him at another show, I'm going to take that with me and have him sign that one instead.
Well, if I ever get a chance to meet Warwick Davis, I'm taking Life's Too Short, my DVD, to get him to
Oh, there
sign
you go.
that.
Have we played this before?
Yeah,
Mm.
it is
We have?
superb.
Okay. Just enjoy him.
How's it going, Caster?
I'm doing pretty good. I went and saw Ghostbusters last night.
And
And
out of 10.
All right, so the obvious, needless to say, no spoiler, because that's just kind of the always the obvious thing. Everyone's going to be like, "Oh, no spoilers!" Like
The
well,
first
no,
week
the
is
movie's
kind of
literally
assumed.
been out less than
Yeah.
24 hours. It is a good, heartfelt passing of the torch of the film. It's that the themes of kind of family are just throughout this, and I am so happy to see it. Look, it's by no means a perfect movie, but I am glad to see it, and this is one I think we absolutely needed to get.
So it was a quality movie that took you back to when movies were good.
Oh yeah.
Cool. I'm going to see it on Sunday with some of the kids. They wanted to go, and I'm like, well, let's not do opening night. Although I got really nervous because I had an ex-Facebook friend the week that I delete anybody off Facebook. That's the first thing. That's the one place I will remove you, because on Facebook I just want people I want to talk to. And I went to go see Endgame the Sunday of the weekend that it released. And I know Marvel stuff, but I don't know all Marvel stuff. And I wake up Sunday morning. No spoilers. No, there were no spoilers anywhere. I wake up Sunday morning and look at my phone to see what's going on. And one of my ex-Facebook friends in big blue with white letters, it said, Cap is worthy. And I went, you exploitative. I'm going to be thinking about that the entire movie. I called him several words and unfriended him. Excuse me, I'm choking on a Dorito.
I don't blame you.
Was he a classmate of ours? Oh, okay. So my headset just died.
Uh-oh.
My headset just died, so I'm gonna.
Ooh, time to say all the naughty words.
I can still hear you though.
Oh,
Father, you need to find out if Justin's actually unfriended you from Facebook before you actually ask him questions.
No,
like
we
that.
talk on Facebook. He sees me every now and then. No, this was probably one of those guys who I used to build miniature arcade replicas about 4-inch tie out of basswood and labels that I would make, and I was very, very popular at times. So I had a lot of Facebook friends that came in from buying those from me, and that was probably one of the people I deleted. I don't do it anymore. I sold the business back. Went for 9 years, and I was like tired of sweating my butt off in the garage. I was like, time to move on to something else. And then I got the gig working at the comic store. And I was like, well, there we go. I'm inside air conditioning and comic books. What else do I need?
Yeah.
So I got to visit the comic store today. I picked up both versions of Primordial #3 and The Nice House on the Lake.
Oh, that's taken a 3-month hiatus, by the way. I just found that out. They're going to bring issue 7 will hit in March. Which is not fair.
I also did pre-order the 5 covers you were telling me about. Something's killing the children.
Yep. I just put my order.
So I got that in pre-order.
Yeah. That's going to be pretty hot. I just got I didn't get my slipcase in our order because they were so limited, but I was able to nab one off the internet for a pretty fair price. But I just got those issues 1 through 16. You can get the hardcover of that. It's very nice.
I saw that today. It's like $60, isn't it?
Yeah, about that. But I mean, you're talking about. I mean, do I have it here? Oh, give me 2 seconds.
I tried stopping to my comic shop this week to pick my comics. Everything was delayed because of all the diamond stuff going on.
I don't know anything about that.
Oh yeah. So I go into my comic shop Wednesday.
I know all about it.
Is DC. Nothing else had arrived.
I'm corded.
The only comics I got were a Sentinel Comics, which is an indie one, and I got the Rabbi stuff.
So Diamond, about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, got ransomware hacked and lost control of their website. They immediately called in a team of super hacker guys to come in and fix what they have, but they are still not back to normal.
Derek has his rabbi stuff.
Oh, very nice. We were not affected. We were able to get our order out on time. It showed up like it normally does. So I think it was just affecting certain regions, certain areas.
Well, in some cases, when they say that, they actually mean they paid.
I would, if they did, fine. Maybe they asked a small enough amount that it wasn't worth the time to bring people in there. But they said they had people in there trying to fix it. Anyway, this is
I've heard stories where that's just the actual reality.
No, that's fine. But in effect, this is the hardcover. But it's the same book. It's the same book that comes in the slipcase, which I was able to get my hands on. Just as a nice little foil.
Ooh.
I like collecting the big hardcovers now because I sell most of the comics that are worth the time and the money to sell, unless they're really dear to my heart. But it is really high quality. It's a very nice book. It's solid. The binding is top notch. So for $49.99, actually, for the hardcover, just $50.
Really? I thought it said 60 on ours.
No, it's printed right there on the back. $49.99.
Huh.
And that goes in the slipcase. It snips, yes, snips in the slipcase. The other one I picked up because you can't get one without the other is the Once and Future, which is the King Arthur Merlin tie-in stories, which is also from Boom Studios. It has some of the best artwork, and I've talked about that before. Dan Mora is going to be teaming up with Mark Waid on Detective Comics here coming up, not in the next couple issues, but I think around 1050, they're going to have a short story in there, and it will lead up. And they've shown sample art. He's drawing. It's a Batman and Superman is in this one as well, I guess, and he looks traditionally classic, awesome Superman. Dan Moore did a great job with his concept artwork, I think.
I just found a tweet I'm going to have to share.
Yep. Did I show you the art I got done? I'm a big fan of the movie Them, and one of the artists of the comics was telling us that he was actually going to be doing a range of classic monster drawings, and a couple of his friends had asked to be included, like the vampire victim or Strangled by Frankenstein. So I asked them if I could be included in Them.
It's you and your them
Oh,
again.
that's cool.
Oh yeah.
I got my guy and I got a picture, so I had to give him a load of framed pictures. So I'm a happy man, so that's getting framed and it's going up. I'm just waiting to get a decent frame for it.
That's great.
Man, that guy was a dirtbag.
You know, I watched quite a bit of footage of him, and you know, I asked myself, maybe from a moral standpoint, is at what point, as a lawyer or a defense attorney or a prosecutor, whatever, when do you start to walk away from what is actual justice so that you can just win your case?
Well, they were talking, if you've been watching the Rakita Law stream, they were talking about how he was maybe trying to get an intentional mistrial. So redo.
Yeah, because they didn't do a good job. I mean, and
No,
they
they did not.
Last night I was watching Tucker, and they showed it was a picture of the guy who kicked him in the face before the kid with the skateboard came after him. And that guy, they said they didn't know who he was. They couldn't bring him in. Well, it turns out they did know who he was, and he said he wanted complete immunity before he would testify. So they said no, because they found out later who he was, and he's a career criminal. I mean, this kid could have opened up automatic fire, sprayed the crowd, and hit career criminals all over the place. You got the pedophile rapist, you got the abuser. You got, I mean,
did you see the one with the two women justifying calling them heroes with the picture and basically saying, didn't matter what they did before or after, it's what happened that night it counted, and they were heroes that night.
Yeah.
So she was effectively saying Kitty Fiddler was a hero.
No,
and that was her justification for it.
Yeah, the footage they showed, he was helping people. He was wrapping legs and, you know, helping people that were hurt, and then he gets chased, and, you know, and he's running, and there's chasing, and it's like,
okay, so I gotta play
I was
this.
looking for this video.
oh god, I love this. Bathe me.
Yep.
Bathe me.
You know, by next week we can probably add
If you ever
another
want to
video
know what the soundtrack of hell is,
That
And there's
girl
the-
from the
I'll
second
tell
from
ya,
at the
it's
bottom,
authority.
second from the left, is in every one of those. He's just become a meme.
There was a great video after Trump was elected where there was a bunch of people just screaming like I'm, you know, if you don't have the emotional maturity to handle the guy you don't want elected getting elected, maybe you should stay home.
You know, that actually that I've widely cited the one in the yellow raincoat, like falling to her, you know, the famous one.
Yeah.
That one. That's the one I cite as my quote unquote red pilling moment, where I looked and said, "What is wrong with you?" Like that was such a shock to me. I had to stop and like sit back and like, what the hell are people acting like children?
Well, it was the defunding
Speaking of
over
which-
the years of mental institutions that were
Yeah.
funded by the government. They just start letting these people run free, and now they're all over the place, and you can't stop
Yeah,
them.
Gentlemen.
exactly. And you're not allowed
Gentlemen.
to say that.
Hello.
I'm a man of a certain age. I'm 49. I'll be 50 in June. And my experience is to turn around and say, I mean, like, I'm asking you as a genuine question. Do you not find that young people nowadays are basically infantile? They're about
Yeah.
10 years younger than their actual age.
Depends
10
what,
years
what
is
part of the
actually
country they
kind.
live in.
9-year-olds.
10 years has been kind. They're basically just kids. 30, even into their 30s, majority of them are no more than 5-year-olds. They're literally just, they'd be sucking their thumb. And I don't
Well,
think get away with it.
if it gives you any
As you
hope,
can tell
there-
from
if-
my accent, I grew up in Northern Ireland. I'm from a certain side of the community. Whenever I grew up in Northern Ireland, there was war going on here. I left school aged 18. 2 days later, I put a uniform on. And I went and fought terrorists. And you have to think about these idiots nowadays on Twitter that are crying about nothing. You know, idiotic stuff. Like, I was shot at 3 times, blown up once within 2 years. You know, I'm still standing. It was good fun at the time, but you know what I mean? But you look at these idiots and they go on Twitter and they're crying about absolutely nothing.
Somebody said something mean. I'm about to die. He almost killed me.
Exactly.
It's that, to me, it's nuts. I grew up. I must admit, I grew up a quite easy life. My dad was self-employed. Basically, it's not as if we were skint. No, not as if we were wealthy, but even we do something stupid. My mum would turn around and say, "Grow up, act your age," and basically wouldn't put up with it. So it's not a case of people who had it hard learned it, or people. It's just a case of as people growing up, they were told, "Act your age, go out and get a job." People won't
Be
put
an
up with that
adult.
crap. Be an
Aspire to
adult.
something.
I was working with my dad when I was 16. Left school at 16, working with my dad, having to do a job. If I was ill, my dad would come down, drag me out of my bed, get to work. Even when I moved out, he would drive down, grab me, and drag me out of my bed to get to work because you don't eat, you're no ill.
there are young people today that still exist that are like that. The problem is that you see is all the idiots are on Twitter, and all the idiots they're loud. The ones who are intelligent and are contributing to society and are making something out of themselves, they're too busy to jump on social media and blab their mouth all day long. So we don't see that. We just see all the idiots, and we don't have a nice mix of, hey, here's some intelligent conversation for 5 minutes before we go back to the idiots and watch them talk for more.
Okay, so I was going to bring up the thing that I commented on Lady Gravemaster, but I wanted to show this first.
Cheers for that.
Let me see if I
I
can find.
thought
Do you know
a little
what I was
lighthearted
laughing about that trial?
to show off
Me,
my own
a
polls
Scot,
from the week.
and not knowing anything about guns.
Hey,
Never
Caster
helped.
wants to show and tell. What you got, Caster?
By the way, how'd you know this?
sorry.
I call this particular camera.
That works pretty good.
So, just to show off a little bit of the stuff I got from the week, more money, and also a bit of stuff that's been built up my backlog because I don't get enough time to read comics.
Do you have bags and boards where you're at right now?
I have some. They're all in bags, but I have boards in the other room.
Okay. We're short. We're still waiting for shipments. We've been out for like 2 months.
See, I just bought 100 of them bags and boards from our store.
Ugh, still waiting.
Got some more Mighty Morphin because Boom's doing pretty good with the Power Rangers.
I hear that. I got 3 guys who love that book.
Yep. This is the art book they put out for some of the sketches for The Last Ronin. And show off a little bit of that.
Very pretty. I'm waiting for the hardcover to come out. I'm sure they're going to do a book. I don't have a place for the weird size they made, so I'm waiting for the hardcover to come out or softcover, some kind of trade.
Yeah, that was like this thought was just kind of the art book, and I figured it was in my pull box, so I might as well pick it up. Find a spot for those. More King Spawn, which I'm about 2 weeks behind on reading through all that, so that's got to get to that.
Yeah, Todd McFarlane's been pushing out a lot of Spawn titles. He's really trying to expand his universe.
Yeah, at times it almost feels like there's almost too much.
It can be very overwhelming. The X-Men series is like that right now. They're finally starting to shut some books down, but they have 9 titles running X-Men right now.
I've really picked onto the Zenescope books, and this has kind of become a favorite series for me. And of course, there's sort of obvious reasons why people would enjoy these.
They're not
covers.
afraid to draw hot chicks.
No, not at all.
Well, I got one recommended to me, and I actually finally went out and actually bought a classic, and it's the collection of the books. I'm waiting for that to turn up next week. V for Vendetta.
Oh,
Finally got the basically the collection, so in the hard book. So I'm looking forward to that coming. So I've got a load to read over the next week. So
Oh, nice.
that's good.
yes, they have. It was a few months ago, wasn't it, Caster? Like maybe last year, they decided to do 2 books. One is called Mighty Morphin, and one is called Power Rangers. So they actually have 2 separate books.
One of them is a bit of a kind of Guardians of the Galaxy space thing, where they have a villain in the team as part of the crew.
How very Yondu. I like it.
Mm-hmm. And of course, they do this lightning bolt down the 2 covers, so with them going simultaneous. So you can kind of get that sort of wraparound sort of feel to the books. And then one book I'm always going to recommend is Shattered Glass, which, if you like your mirrored universe from Star Trek, this is the Transformers equivalent.
Okay.
I was never a big Transformers fan. Even the animated stuff that was on TV, the comics, I just could not get into it. My brother used to
I loved the Transformers when I was growing up in the 80s. There was like a 30p comic you could buy here in the UK.
Yeah.
The reprinted
my
Transformers stories.
brother
They
read
were
it.
brilliant.
That's all I got. I got a
Yeah,
few
my
of those
brother
at the
read
store
that
I've
for
been
a
hanging
while,
on to.
And you try to get hold of those comics nowadays. Very difficult. I'll
Did
stick
you
with
hear
my
about
6P Judge Dredd or 2000 AD comic. Thank you. That's how it was. That's how much it was when I was buying it when I was in my teens. 6 pence for a comic.
PJ,
Those are the
I
days.
remember one time when I was a kid, and it must have been in the 70s, late 70s, and my mother and father took us to a country fair in Garba, and there was some guy was selling a 2000 AD comic collection. And I sat down on a blanket, and I was able to read with the first 30. I remember reading Flesh, the dinosaur story.
Yeah, I love
With
Flesh.
the first 30 and the original comics. And obviously, because I was only a kid, you didn't know what you were looking at. And I think back and think now, I mean, that would be worth thousands.
Well, my
Literally
first collection,
thousands.
I
From
had the
2000
first,
AD 1 right
Uh-huh.
the way through.
I had the first 100. Well, tell a lie. The second 99, I didn't have issue 1. I had issue 2 to 100, and my ex threw them in the bin. And I'm not going to collect them again because the cost of even collecting ones that are not in great condition is just too pricey. So it's
Now, whenever you think and how much, my head keeps going behind me. Whenever you think about how many collections were dumped in bins and what they're worth nowadays, it's unbelievable.
well, I had to get rid of all my Target Doctor Who books. A lot of them were first editions. I'd collected them over years. I just needed the cash. Nobody was buying. I got something like £30 for the lot, and it was every Target first edition.
Same thing. I remember like, I live in a small town, the next big town's Korea. I remember going there to the second-hand bookshop and buying, the Target bookshop or the Target novels, the Doctor Who novels, for pennies.
Yeah.
You know what I
Because
mean?
I used to go,
And then
I
you
used to
read
go down
them,
the bar,
and you
I'm
took
from
them back,
Glasgow.
and you changed them for another one. He gave you half the price back again.
Yeah,
You
that's
think,
what I was
God, if
gonna
I
say.
held on to them now, I'd be able to buy a car.
That's what I was thinking, because that's how I used to do. I used to go down to the bar in the Barrowland.
I've been there.
Every weekend. I used to go down there every week, go into the bars, go through all the bookshops and pick them up for 10p. I would check it against ones that I already had. This was a newer one, so I would come in the next week and give them that and half the price to buy another one. And it was literally that's how my collection actually changed. if I found one that was actually newer, I would take that, bring the old one back, and get another one, and it was just a constant run. You're just showing off now.
What was that last one?
I met Billy Williams in an elevator shortly before I got in his line and met him for reals. But that was back when I had my store. I was just thinking, I found that picture of Warwick Davis. And I had saved autographs from my first. Like, here's one. Now, who here is an X-Files fan? Like old X-Files? Nobody.
I never watched it.
Dean Haglund, one of the
The gunman.
the super nerds. Yes, the lone gunman. I heckled him in his show, and he completely responded, and it was awesome. And he personalized that for his show is basically the same every time you see him because I've seen him twice. Oh, there it is. Yeah. And then for those of us who like the old Hercules and Xena, I did meet Aphrodite. Oh, she doesn't look like that in real life, by the way. There's a lot of wires and duct tape. And Mara Jade, who short-lived career as Mara Jade for the Star Wars card game. She actually had 2 cards that they put in the game.
Didn't they also have Mara Jade in some of the video game cutscenes?
I don't know. I don't remember seeing her.
Well, do you know what I'm looking for the new card
When
game
did they
for
try
the
and get
new
it better?
TV show? I'm waiting for the Wheel of Time cards to hit it big.
You know, I had a bunch of those comics. When that show was announced, I sold them in a big lot. They didn't go for too much, but the person was very, very happy to have them. It was something that was just sitting in our back room for a while. It's funny about those small series that just nobody pays much attention. Then all of a sudden someone says, hey, let's make this into a TV show.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's huge.
There you go. I've got quite a few of them.
Are those
I've
gaming
got
cards or just trading cards?
Trading cards.
Trading cards.
So the full trading cards, So yeah. But I've got the couple of full sets unopened, as well as I had a load of booster packs. I opened them all.
Oh, so it was a game then. You could
It was
play
a game. It's a
It was a
trading
game.
card game. Similar idea to Magic. It was just nowhere near as popular.
Oh, yeah. In 93, when Magic came out, that was when they realized, hey, we can make trading cards that people actually want to play and then, use as well as look and collect.
Well, I've got
I've got some Magic autographs from artists here too, but I just it's a small pile.
my Magic the Gathering. I've got about 20,000 cards in my collection. So I have.
No, I got out after I closed my store. After a friend of mine stole something from me, I was like, I'm done playing this game.
Yeah. Well, according to my collection, which is maximum 5 cards per any one, I've got 21,000 of them.
Let's see.
It's and not a lot of look at that one.
Is that Blake 7?
Yep. That's
Signed
Avon.
Paul Darrow from Blake 7. I have 2. I have that one, and I have. If we can get it up in the.
Yep.
Okay. I'm still trying to work my way through Blake 7.
What's Blake 7?
brilliant.
British.
Blake 7 has hideous sets, hideous costumes, and wonderful acting and wonderful storytelling.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they don't. It's not all flash bang. There is a lot of times where it's literally not a lot happening, but it's needed to build up the tension. But
Is that fall under
nowadays, they wouldn't-
sci-fi or
Yep, sci-fi. You've
Cool.
got the Liberator, the ship, which was great. Didn't like the second ship, Slave. Didn't like that one. And then they had teleportation bracelet. I saw that one.
I saw that this week. I was like, even I know what that means now. Yay.
Somebody on one of the priests on my Facebook page didn't know what that meant. It's like, well, I'm not telling you. Because the caption is like, some of you will get it.
Yep.
Yep.
I had someone ask me a question. It was another nerd friend of mine doing a little show, and this was years and years and years ago when he was just doing radio fun. And he said, what's the secret to the universe and everything? And he said the quote, and I didn't know what it was because I had never read
42.
Hitchhiker's. Yeah. It was like, be nice. I started coming up with this answer, and I found out later I looked like the biggest idiot because I didn't realize what he was talking about.
See, I love the first 2 series on the radio drama. I just have not been able to get past what is it, Terra Phase 3 or whatever it is? The 3rd version of the radio drama.
Yeah, I've no heard it.
It's not as good. I mean, I love the first 2 seasons are perfect.
Yeah, the radio drama I love. The early TV show I loved, and I hated the movie.
Hated the movie.
Movie was not. That was no Zephyr Beaverbrox. That was no Marvin. Yeah.
Now the Marvin in the movie was pretty good. I like
didn't
that.
like it. It just
Well, Alvin Rickman. I mean, Alan Rickman was pretty good as a depressed Marvin.
Oh, he was great. I love Alan Rickman. He will be missed forever.
Yeah. But
I was watching Harry Potter as well.
It just did not ring with me, I must admit. And maybe it was because the whole movie I just didn't like any of the characters. Which sometimes, I'm aware that some really, really, really bad stuff.
Well, and the
has
race
got a
swapping
good
the
character
Ford
in there.
prefect wasn't good either.
That's true.
Didn't care for the guy that replaced him.
No, think me. So you get Arthur Dent was Martin. What's his name? Martin Freeman.
Yeah.
But the other ones were they just didn't ring.
No, I will say I did like Zoe. I can't pronounce her last name. Drozel or whatever her sister's like in Bones.
Oh, Zoe Deschanel.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Don't know
Bones
how you
was
know
one
how
of
to
my
pronounce that name.
one of my favorite shows is Bones. I must have watched the entire episode collection on Netflix.
I need to bring it
3
out.
different times.
I need to bring it out. I've got the whole season of that.
No.
I love Bones. Bones
Loved
was
it. That was a
super.
I'll
great,
show you
great
what I
show.
just got. Let me.
By the way, those of you who invested in Ethan Van Sciver's, I think it's Blood Honey campaign and got the executive box set, things are starting to arrive.
I just got mine too.
I got
In fact, I did an unboxing video.
Well, here's the hilarious thing. This came post office today, USPS, and this came yesterday via UPS. So, McHale's Navy. That's a
McHale's
classic, by
Navy.
the way.
The only thing I liked about the movie, Bruce Campbell.
No, the movie was garbage.
Yeah, the only thing I liked about it was Bruce Campbell was on it.
Oh wait, not McHale's Navy. Down
Sergeant
Periscope.
Bilko.
Down Periscope was
Down
good.
Periscope with
Kelsey Grammer.
Kelsey Grammer and
That
a hell
was-
of a cast. It's got a Belushi in it.
Superb. That is just superb. It's just so much fun.
I like that movie.
I thought it was just one of those ones.
Don't
you
be
could
showing the
sit back
Navy
and
stuff.
laugh and enjoy it.
Don't you like the Navy?
In the Navy.
Oh no, I love the Navy. I was in the Royal Navy for 12 years. I have a new neighbour moved in next door, and God love her, she was only 18 or 19, and she called in with me one night a few weeks ago, and she was, she had, her hair was dyed. It was blonde one side and pink in the other, and she was proudly proclaiming she was bisexual and all this. I was like, I no problem, whatever you like. And I says, well, if you're bisexual, you that way inclined, you've no Top Gun. And she says, no, I've never seen Top Gun. I says, you've never seen Top Gun, the most homoerotic movie of the 80s, like. So I was stuck in on her. She was sitting watching. You could just see the eyes going round and round.
Yep. Well, remember that's the old saying. Join the army, feel a man. Join the navy, feel two.
I have a friend who's the boys, the Navy, Rhubarb.
I have a good friend who's in Air Force Intelligence, and every time we game, we're Xbox buddies, and every time I game with him, sometime throughout the night, I'll just go, oh, how does it go? Off we go into the wild blue yonder, lost again, son of a,
Now we were in
I get
HMS
poke fun at
Invincible.
him.
That was at the time. That was the main carrier for the Royal Navy, and you used to put the birds up in the air, and then we had a wee office, on the flight deck. And we had deck chairs. And once the birds was off, we used to pull the deck chairs out. We used to sit. We were out to this here sunbathe until we get the word that we're coming back. Deck chairs back in, get them landed.
Here we go.
Come on. Oh, wait.
I've seen this one
Before we
before.
go in, let me tell you a little about an
Meredith.
English pub. It's not like a saloon. It's more like a club. A club for men and women who haven't a great deal of money and who don't drink for the sake of drinking, but for the company. Now, these pubs are open for a couple of hours in the middle of the day and then again in the early evening. And men and women, after their day's work, and they work long and hard hours, come in for a bitter a mile. Oh, that's beer to you. And incidentally, the beer isn't cold in England. No. They don't like it cold, and they haven't any ice, see? So if you like beer, you better like it warm. What's that? Difference between bitter and mild? I don't know. One's bitter and one's mild. You better find out for yourself. Anyway.
It's a good movie. The whole thing's like a 40-minute movie.
I don't know. I recognise that, but I don't know if I've actually just seen clips with bits like that.
He's still embarrassed.
I've seen that one before. It's a good one.
He doesn't look young at all in that either. He still looks like he's in his 50s.
Well, his 114th birthday was this week.
Oh, God rest him.
Great man.
There's a
Great
pub.
actor.
Anybody who can do a G.I. Joe character in a movie is good on my plate. So, you know.
I didn't know he did one.
He was Globulus, supreme leader of Cobra Law. That's my best impression.
Yeah. That's all I remember.
There's a wee pub outside Portsmouth beside HMS Dryad. That's where the D-Day landings were coordinated from. The HMS Dryad's a shore base. And it's called the Red Lion. And whenever you go in, there's a booth on the left-hand side. And the night, the 5th of June, 1944, Eisenhower, Montgomery, and all the other generals came down, and they sat there and had a drink before they launched the D-Day invasion.
There you go.
Just
Did you see
looking at YouTube.
the museum had to issue an apology for the remembrance service? They basically did the remembrance service, 2-minute silence, and then they had an alternate youth group come in and basically did a woke rap slagging Winston Churchill and going on about
Oh,
racism.
sorry. I'm not going to
Basically,
say
they
bad
had
words
to issue an
because I'm
apology because
embarrassed.
people were walking out in the middle of it and they were disgusted. That's what they were saying. They came here for remembrance. People can actually see what they want, but that was not what it was for, because they were all going on about how Winston Churchill and racism and how everybody. And
Well,
the
the quote from Battlestar Galactica, they can frack off.
yeah,
My mother was born in the early 40s, and one of her earliest memories, she grew up in Coleraine, Limavady. It was a harbour town, or Coleraine, Northern Ireland, harbour town. And her father worked on the merchant navy ships, and he used to come in whenever he was back from a voyage, and he would run up the street to the pub, and my mother and her mother would go down and drag him out of the pub. You know what I mean? And then you have these wee idiots now, as you say, rap. Even the word rap annoys me.
rap with a capital C.
So Christmas must be terrible. Wrap presents? No? Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, wait.
that's
If the
the
fella
silent
made
double.
Dad
that,
joke calendar.
I did.
Not with a silent W, not with a silent C.
I
Don't we get
did purchase this for Christmas
really?
for me and Paul to play.
There you
Is it
go.
the vinyl?
No, it's a game. It's a box game.
Oh.
You need a box game. You need a board game for Christmas. I
Yep.
thought, well, to hell with it. We may as well have
board
Alien.
game. Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of board game is it? Like
I haven't
know
opened
there's
it yet.
different types. Oh, okay.
It seems to be a card-based, turn-based movement game. Looked all right to me, anyway.
There we go.
I
So,
got a version of Risk that was based on Rick and Morty, and that was kind of fun.
so I got to say, I just hit record on MSNBC because they have a woman on
boy.
right now that's just really
I can't
hateful.
imagine.
So
can't
I have
imagine.
to watch her. I have to watch later her reaction to the Rittenhouse thing.
Was it Rachel?
No, it's Nicole Wallace.
Oh.
Judge Dredd.
Somehow,
If your
somehow
underwear,
she
if your
used to
underwear
work-
doesn't have Judge Dredd, I will be surprised.
That's a board game. That's my
like-
board game. That's
know
what I play.
Hey,
It's in the closet, but I got a GI Joe board game from like 1982 that my mother found at a garage sale, and it was complete. I was like, oh my gosh, I was
I
actually able to.
I used to have
Oh, I've got one to
Quest,
show.
the full set, and I gave it to my nephew.
Everybody go get your board
And
game.
I gave it to my nephew, and he gave us it back. And when I was moving home, I lost it. The original
was the
Hero
best.
Quest, he kept it, and he gave it back, and I lost it, and I was gutted. Star Wars. See, there's proper Star Wars picture.
That's a board game.
Okay,
And
hold
a
on.
TIE fighter.
found that for 12 quid in the local toy shop.
Is that one of the things that they produced back in the 90s when they brought Star Wars back?
It's a reproduction.
Yeah.
But the actual figure's worth more than what I paid for the game.
That's how they were selling it. They would reproduce these games that today you wouldn't want to play because they were so boring. They just had Star Wars all over them back in the 70s. So they stick an
Okay.
action figure with it. I just saw that. God, what was it? It was another one they did like that where it was like a vintage looking Luke Skywalker pilot in some kind of Hoth board game. Ironcaster.
No,
was
they,
fishing in the board game.
I paid 12 quid for the game, and the actual figure on eBay is worth over 20.
There you go.
See, that's why I love charity shops, car boot sales, stuff like that. Sometimes you can get a good pick. I missed one of my best
Okay,
picks.
what
It
was
was
that?
William Shatner Amigo.
What are you doing?
It was.
Oh, this is the big box.
Conan.
Oh, gee. Oh,
Conan the board game? Dude.
Nice
I've never
artwork.
heard of that. What's the back look like?
It looks very Hero Quest.
The thing is,
like,
one of like 3 boxes for it.
Oh, so it's your serious board game.
yeah.
This is a big honker.
Why don't you just
Yeah.
play Warhammer and get it over, man?
Whoa!
I don't like the new Warhammer, the Age of Sigma stuff. I actually
I was
like
going
the
to lift it
classic
too.
Warhammer.
Warhammer was good in the late 80s, early 90s, but Warhammer's gone to hell.
Because I used to have
What
Just got to mention real quick, they
I
got
used to have
Reverend
over
Al
1,000
Sharpton on
figures.
MSNBC.
what was that,
Hold up
Father?
on
Sorry.
screen.
They got Reverend Al Sharpton. I'm sorry, Reverend Al Sharpton on MSNBC right
Of
now.
course they do, because he's an authority in all kinds of things.
He's Ancaster just
Sorry, I
keeps
don't-
coming.
I don't have much respect for Sharpton.
The way it was being reported, they were actually asking people in the street
Okay, hold on.
who was shot by that person, and they were actually turning around and saying they actually thought it was a shot all black people. There was they had no knowledge when they were the ones that were protesting it. They were asking them, look at those figures and that is superb.
And then the other one is very basic, but it is still just as big as that first one.
And of course, the obvious question: do you play with them? Nope. I just look at them, put them on the shelf, look at them.
Yeah, basically. And then mind you, the shelf has still more boxes. They
I love
gave
looking
me
at my stuff.
So much
I look at my stuff all the time. My cat was behind my monitor and tried to get out. No, don't go back there again. Knocked everything over. Knucklehead.
Gets the attention, so of course he's going to go back there.
You can't see it, but his face was like hanging over the monitor, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Stop attacking my cords. Quack. This is why I can't have nice things, Artie.
I know I used to actually have over, I think it was 1,500 Warhammer figures, not including 40k figures. That was just my fantasy armies.
I really enjoyed that period. Oh,
Yeah.
there's his ear.
Yeah.
Get off the monitor.
I used to love the Bretonian army. I had 250 knights alone. So I did. Of
I
my
played
Bretonian army.
Chaos. It fit. Get
Oh,
off the monitor.
My daughter played Chaos. One of them played Chaos, the other one played Orcs, and I had a big Bretonian army.
You know, there was a
The wars were the best. Egypt.
That's only because they were based off Irish people.
That's right. Go away now.
That's why I like goblins. All my goblins wore road.
Go on, go away.
First white dwarf I ever bought was issue 87. Bought it in Eason's bookshop. over here.
more.
It's been a long time since I've actually had any white dwarfs in the house. I used to actually collect them. I But when
Oh,
I got
it's
rid
a
of
way
all
to
my
hell.
gear,
You know, I
yeah.
sacrificed one of my dice when it wouldn't stop rolling ones one game. I took it outside and lined up all my other dice, and I smashed it with a hammer in front of the other dice to teach them a lesson.
Listen,
So you don't roll ones
Oh,
when we're going to
the worst
war.
part is, see the guy I used to play Warhammer Fantasy against? His name was Duncan. And we used to get slagged all the time because Ant and Dec, if you know who Ant and Dec is, they're basically a pair of entertainers in the UK.
pair of twats.
Used to be on a TV program called Biker Grove, and their characters were PJ and Duncan. See the amount of slagging I got because PJ and Duncan were on the table. Used to all sing all the Ant and Dec songs to us. It was really embarrassing.
Now, did you ever play a Blood Bowl? Like go with the smaller games? He's reaching for something. I had a Blood Bowl character. His name was Surehand Jimmy Snitz, and I would throw him. He would take the ball, and the ogre would throw him down the field.
Yeah.
And then we played this one epic game where I literally made 7 dodge saves in a row and almost made it through my opponent's people. And then on the last one, they pushed him in the sidelines where he was beaten to death by the crowd. And I snapped the miniature in half.
Yeah,
because
that's
I
the
felt
new
that was
version.
it.
It's new version. I had the old version, and I used my favorite team was a Skinks team. Well, believe it or not, I used to have a human team. And what
That
I
was
did
my
was
team. My team were humans.
I took Millie Putty and a sculpting knife, and every one of them were Bretonnian knights. So they all had armor. So you had a knight in full armor with a blood bowl. Or
Blood Bowl's
basically a
something
big
I was always
glove
wanting
and
to get to
everything.
play.
So I used basically that was my human army was a Blood Bowl team.
What was that,
I used
Caster?
to love it.
Oh, I said Blood Bowl's a game I always had wanted to play, but I've never got a chance to.
It's actually you can get it on an app.
It's horrible.
Not as good
Blood
on
Bowl's
the
good
I've got it on Steam.
It sounds.
I used to
I
like
think-
Necromunda as well. Necromunda was a good game.
I've got. I used
Oh, I
to play
forgot
Necromunda as
about
well. I think I've actually still, believe it or not, I've still got the platforms down there somewhere. So I have
it's
because they were in a
Space Hulk.
box.
Space Hulk, another game I forgot that they did.
Space Hulk
I
was
used-
good too.
Wasn't Necromunda? Was that the one where you were like punks in like
Yeah, but
almost
you
like
had
a
the
cyberpunk?
Orlocks, the punks, the scouts, and basically
Yeah.
you were like a
Black,
gang.
Asher.
Uh-huh.
But it was
You
more
were
of a
like a gang.
skirmish game. You had smaller little teams.
I was.
It was. They did the bigger ones with larger figures. It was set in the fantasy world. Wasn't as good. The figures were larger. They were like 2-3 inches.
That was the
rather-
Inquisitor's style game, wasn't it?
It was, and it was not as good. It basically this didn't have the same type because you
Didn't
were.
take off.
No, it didn't at all. I had a couple of figures, but it wasn't as interesting. The gang warfare was great. The Blood Bowl stuff was great. The fantasy was great, and even the 40k was really good. I used to play Battle Fleet Gothic as well. Used to have a load of
And that
them.
was a good game too.
And I
I
loved
had a
that.
40 ship fleet at one stage. Gorka Morka was all right too with a.
I didn't mind that.
Orc
I liked
trucks.
the vehicles. I liked the orc vehicles. They were superb, but they just blast together. But yeah, what Games Workshop used to do some really, really good stuff. It's when they actually started introducing the Lord of the Rings stuff. I thought it just started going down.
Oh, that took over. I had my store opened in 2000, and when Lord of the Rings hit, it was like, can I get some more Warhammer miniatures? No, we're pushing Lord of the Rings right
Yeah.
now.
and that's when I think it all went downhill. They changed the rules of the games to make them a bit more compatible with each other. And I thought, nah, the figures weren't even as good. And a goblin figure.
Well,
or an orc
Games
figure
Workshop,
in
what, like,
fantasy
I was friends
great.
with guys that worked for them, and Games Workshop had a very aggressive marketing strategy. You know, and they would move into a town if there was a local model shop whatever was selling their products. They would undercut them, set up a shop, and either basically take over the model shop or whatever. And you know, that was their way or no way.
That's not very nice.
That's Games
Yeah,
Workshop.
it's business. But
See, we where I started playing, it was a small shop with just a few items, but then the owner of the business, terrible human being, I know him. He wanted to expand, so he called up their rep, and we ended up with a direct account or something. And he committed, it must have been half of the store wall space, a good 50 to 80 feet of wall space committed to blisters and boxes of miniatures for every race in the armies, and it was a big deal. We had everybody who bought comics or games in our store had Warhammer. Like, we pushed it hard, and everybody was playing. We'd have weekend tournaments that would last the entire weekend. We keep the store open till midnight. People coming in and playing all, we have tournaments. It was a big deal. In fact, when that store burnt down, shortly after I announced I was leaving town to go with my, the guys who used to play Warhammer, actually, they put together their own LLC, and they subletted a space that was about, 50 square feet. They put 2 tables in it and a cash register and called it a business so that they could continue to buy their supplies at cost.
No, I remember, and this was in Belfast, and I was friends with the managers and everybody in the shop. And if you were in there, see about midday, they'd be panicking and they'd be ringing, their friends in other shops to see how much money they'd made, because the pressure was on them to take so much money every day by so point in time, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to be in one very regularly, and it was always the same idea.
The victims.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to play because Al's coming up. I'm just watching it on the other TV. I really want to hear what he has to say, because it's going to be doozy, I'm sure.
Can you imagine if the press pushed in favor of Rittenhouse and then showed all of the terrible history of the people that were killed, how the different narratives would have put out?
I think that the governor's statement is correct, and I think the broader context of this verdict today, it is most disturbing, which is why I think the president and the governor has to speak to this, and there needs to be clearer federal legislation. We can argue about the case in particular, but when you look at the broad message that came out of this, is they have said now that vigilantes can go to protest.
He looks like a tortoise with his head out of the shell.
And say that they were defending themselves, which puts all.
Never have I ever heard the word of Jesus come out of his mouth.
Whatever issue in danger. The precedent that it set, that you can have a judge sit there and
notice how they never talk about the criminals. They only ever talk about Kyle.
But you can.
They sometimes talk about the criminals. They don't call them criminals. They call them victims.
Sit in front of a man charged with murder and let him choose his own jury. So I think that many of us are far more concerned about what the broad message this verdict gives than to arguing.
Do you remember the episode of South Park where he was on?
And rightfully so, about the particulars of the case.
Okay, I've had enough of him.
Don't forget.
There was an episode of South Park where Randy, the dad, was at Wheel of Fortune, and he said the
That was Jesse Jackson.
Oh, it was Jesse Jackson. Well, I get the mistake. I mess them up because they're basically the same person.
Same thing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand. What are you doing? Get off my comic books. Get off.
It looks as if he's talking to you, Father, the way he's actually looking up.
Looking at my cat. I'm looking at my cat. Get off the table.
You look as if you're shouting at the father, get off my comic book.
No, I'm just checking. So it looks like Razor Fist is on tonight.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of these.
Oh, that's going to be good. Especially with
language.
So what time is it supposed to start, though? I mean, it's supposed to be earlier, isn't it?
You missed it, Iron. You didn't get caught.
I didn't hear it.
I thought I heard the F word.
No, I said, "Oh, that's gonna be."
That was probably.
Yeah, I heard that.
I heard F and awesome. I'm sorry.
I've been busy sort of unpacking
Okay,
boxes of figures, stuff that's sitting on my shelf for a long time now that I just have not gotten around to opening.
So, do you get to the point where you're painting everything then?
See, I used to get to that.
No.
I used to get to the point I would collect and never paint, and now I get my friends to paint.
But we
Kitty,
might as well open
get
something
off the. I'll be back.
What all comes in this big old box? Like one figure. Oh, wait.
Oh, gee.
I'm sorry. Are you saying that little figure is what's in that big box?
Yep.
Yes.
What was the retail on the box itself?
Oh, there's like not even one listed.
But you don't know how much you paid?
This was all a Kickstarter campaign.
Okay. Oh, so it's a newish thing that they were trying to boot or promote.
This was back like 3 or 4 years ago, like I think 2016. And it's been collecting dust on my shelf, and I said I'm just gonna go ahead and start finally opening these. And oh my gosh, there are so many minis.
Yeah, one of the sets I got, I think it was a Kickstarter a few years ago, and I ended up with just a box of some of the figures. It was something like 20 odd figures, and it only cost something like £10-15, so it was great. But I only wanted it for that figure.
My
friend, a Minotaur.
A Minotaur.
We had one of my friends painted it. She did a fantastic job. Did better than I could have done, and even in my heyday.
I know. I have one miniature that I had a friend of mine paint. He was the guy I talked about before. He was a Golden Demon winner for his painting quality, and I lost the miniature somewhere.
So we got title card.
Yep. See, Games Workshop, they had a policy that if the staff painted them, they would go into the cases, and that was it. The Games Workshop guys were telling us they weren't allowed to sell. See, if they painted them, they had to go into the cases, and that was it. And they always wanted to paint them and then sell them later on. So they would buy them, paint, or they would sell them to themselves, paint them, put them in a case, and then hopefully sell them later on. They were told they weren't allowed to do that. Any painted figure in the case had to be the shop owned. And they were told they weren't allowed to sell it. But one of the guys was telling us through in Edinburgh, an American came in, saw the figure, didn't know what it was. It was a dragon, and wanted to buy it. And they said they couldn't sell it. So he offered them £250 for it. And they said, no, we're not allowed to sell it. So he offered them £500. So they said, no problem, take it. They weren't allowed to sell it, but as soon as the money started going up there,
money talks. Money talks. Yeah,
money talks. It's a case of
Take my money.
Look at the policy. The policy doesn't matter now.
All policies have a price.
Yeah.
So I got to show this. This just came up on my recommendations. I know I talked to Ironcaster about it because the other day was the holiday special anniversary. But the crew that did MST3K uploaded their Star Wars the holiday special commentary.
Oh no.
So we'll listen to a little bit of it.
As I've often said, if you can get past the bad part, it's
all
all right.
When Welcome Back Kotter was a major hit, it's no wonder they keep their TV locked away. Oh.
R2, look. It's Chewbacca's family.
What I meant to say is run, it's Chewbacca's family.
Hello, Mala. Is she? Hi, hello, me.
Is he binge drinking again?
I always thought Mark Hamill looked so weird in this show. Like he looks
not at all
10 years younger.
Grandpa absolutely hates that kid. He wishes nothing but death on him.
Not now, R2.
I bet now Luke wishes he had paid extra for that call blocking feature.
Anyway, the whole holiday special commentary is online.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I did enjoy the animated part where they introduced Boba Fett. The people who did, I think the people who did the heavy metal animation worked on that because it was like the same voices and the same style. They must have just thrown that together really quick at the same time.
Did you see there was a thing about the Harry and the Hendersons TV show, not the movie?
Oh, hated that.
And they were talking about that. It even got 2 seasons, and they brought in Harry's wife, and somebody says they think they got the outfit for Harry's wife from that show. The Wookiee, it was a Wookiee.
Oh, that they took the old Wookiee costume?
Yeah. And that's what they said they did because it just looked so identical. If you looked at the one of the females from that show, and then you looked at Harry's wife, they were almost identical.
Who would you like to be the guy for the costume that's 30 years old?
Please don't bring demons on my stream.
Shame.
Is King Conan okay?
Yes.
He fights like a demon.
It's not a demon, though.
Yes, let's do that right in the microphone.
No demons here.
So, Well, I think we'll start wrapping up just because it's coming close, and Gary's usually starting on time now.
Well, and Castor's breaking
Yeah.
out. demons.
I
We
was
gotta
going to
go.
say, guys, I have to bounce. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Cheers,
all.
Derek.
Definitely.
See you later.
So,
Padre.
good to see him. Anybody got anything to plug?
Well, I'm actually going to be doing a Wheel of Time watch, but not a watch along because obviously it was on yesterday. I'm going to do a review every week for our Wheel of Time because I read all the books. I've got all the books. I've read all the books for years, and I love it. And I want to see how they screw it up.
Well, I haven't read any of the books. I'll
How
probably
they
enjoy
mess
the
it
show.
up. How they mess it up because I had worries about it, and then I saw the trailer, and the trailer looked really good. There was one or two wee bits in it. However, the more I hear,
Modern
so
day
I'm going to do a
Stephen.
review of each episode. So that's starting Sunday. Anybody
Sounds
wants
good.
to come along and slag it the Wheel of Time with me? Come along.
Sounds good. Well, I just want to thank everybody for joining me. We'll do it again next week. And for those watching, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. And until then,